Backrooms commercial art breakdown and analysis.
The hype around the Backrooms movie seems to be the gift that keeps on giving, because just now a new commercial ARG style promo was released for the advertising of the movie. So in this video today, I'm going to check out this commercial, this ARG as people are calling it. I'm going to be diving into the Easter eggs that are there and sharing with you all some analysis of this actual media. And I'm also going to be diving back into the original trailer because there were some things that I didn't include in my analysis that you all so kindly pointed out in the comments. Anyways, without wasting any more of your time, that's my cat. We're gonna hop right into this commercial. We're gonna break it down. I'm gonna show you all the secrets that I've uncovered and the community has uncovered, and then we're gonna hop back into the trailer and do all the breakdown and Easter eggs there too. So to begin with, if somehow you were not aware, the Backrooms A24 movie just released its full trailer, and a few days later, it released this promotional commercial for the actual movie. It's shot in this analog horror style, or the VHS 90s vibe, and it features Clark, which is the main character and the owner of the Ottoman Empire store, doing an advertisement for the actual store and trying to sell you all everything that he has to offer. Now, I'm hoping that the release of this commercial and all the Easter eggs and kind of ARG vibes with it indicates that there are going to be more parts of the ARG, and maybe we'll expand it even more if there is more promotions to be done. Anyways, there are a ton of important things in this small commercial that I want to point out to you.
Quer descobrir arquivo, é isso?
So let's go ahead and do that now. For one, there's an included phone number inside of this flyer that pops
ligaram? O que acontece? É verdade, ligaram essa porra ou não? O que aconteceu?
And if you call that number, nothing's gonna happen. It's gonna beep and make a few weird noises, because the number is actually meant to be faxed. That's right. Does anybody watching this remember what a fax is?
Com certeza. Se eu falar pra vocês que minha mãe tem uma máquina de fax, é doideira, pô. Tem até hoje aqui, meu.
Now, I'm 24, which is ancient and
novinho.
Online year.
Novinho, pô. Tô com 41, tá com 24.
And I recall fax machines being pretty big.
O cara tem 24 anos e tem mais cara de 30 e poucos anos do que eu, cara. Falando pra vocês, vocês falam que eu sou velho, velho. O moleque, mó cara de velho da porra, mano.
Back in the day, but...
Essa barbona, tudo, velho. Voz, tudo.
Type this number into a fax machine, you'll get this flyer sent right back to you, which is pretty neat. Captain Clark's...
Pretty neat.
Ottoman Empire, located on Capitol and McKee, just off Road 680. It's all here, and it's all a steal. The Santa Clara Valley's favorite furniture warehouse and showroom get lost in an endless sea of quality tables, chairs, maps, couches, and bedroom sets. Below that amazing introduction, there's a whole list of things that Captain Clark sells at his store. But if you notice, the wallpaper is off-kilter. Of course, this is a direct reference
o paper tá pouquinho pro ladinho.
To the Backrooms wallpaper being the most notable part of it. But one more thing I want to point out that I've not seen anybody else point out. So if anybody steals this from me, credit me, please. I want you to notice the exact list of items on this
bookshelves, rugs, carpet, wallpaper, lighting, lamps, mirrors, storage solutions, and more.
Flyer. When they're listed, it's carpet, wallpaper, and then lights, lamps, okay? And if we go back to the original Backrooms 4chan post from way back in the day, and we take a look at it here on screen, the stink of moist carpet, the madness of mono yellow, which is talking about the wallpaper, and the fluorescent lights at maximum hum buzz.
Caralho, legal. Legal.
Which is just in the exact same order, the carpet, the wallpaper, and the lamps, just like this flyer. It's the exact same thing. This might be a nod to the original post, it might not be. I don't know. Going even deeper into the flyer, as we scroll down just a tiny bit, we can see this sort of light leak, kind of tearing through the photograph. Now, this photograph looks...
Que na minha visão, acho que é só da impressão, porque quando você imprimia nessas épocas numa impressora cagada, principalmente, pô... Quando a gente imprimia coisa aqui em preto e branco, tinha esses bagulhos zoados, assim, tá ligado? A própria imagem que se usava.
And appears to be a mirrored image. But anyways, there's this weird artifact that kind of breaks through the middle. This, to me, resembles that break or slit in the wall between the Backrooms and the Ottoman Empire store, where the light from the Backrooms is kind of creeping in to the actual store. It kind of shows... almost appearing as a light fragment, just like this picture. Now, this flyer and this commercial also releases the actual location of this Ottoman Empire furniture store and the entrance to the Backrooms.
E tem essa furniture, né? Eu cheguei a ver.
in real life.
Tem na vida
and
real.
people have already driven out to this location and checked it out. But how you get the location is by calling the number on your phone that pops up. But it'll show you that the actual
Mas, tipo, realmente um lugar de móveis ou só, tipo, um bagulho abandonado?
number is from Los Gatos, California. And if you go to the flyer itself, as I said, it gives you the exact directions. It literally says off of Road 680. So people followed this, and it leads to an abandoned Spirit Halloween. This Spirit Halloween is empty as of right now, but I'm gonna postulate
Ah, tá abandonado também.
this location might be of interest. Stick with me for a second, because what if this Spirit Halloween actually ends up being a sort of pop-up backrooms in real life location where they'll sell merchandise, maybe even do autographing or a scene from the movie or something, and they'll put wallpaper and walls up inside the store to represent the actual backrooms. Sort of like a release day thing, or maybe like a premiere thing. Don't shoot me if that's wrong, but honestly, that would be really cool, I think. And maybe this flyer and this commercial is Kane's way of kind of hinting at that fact.
Kane Pixels é gênio, né, mano? Porque o que eu tô percebendo é que no TikTok, no Instagram, né, tem bastante gente fazendo edit de backrooms, bastante gente falando dessa porra, bastante gente falando do filme, velho. Tipo, pelo caminho que tem nesse filme, esse filme vai fazer uns 500 milhões. Pelo caminho que esse filme tá indo, esse filme vai fazer uns 500 milhões. Papo reto. Não param de postar coisa, velho. Tipo assim, mano, toda hora edit, e bagulho trailer, blá, 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 blá. E, mano, ou querem um outro filme, só que não vai ter outro filme. Parece que a continuação desse filme vai ser uma série, mano. Essa é a merda. Eu queria um filme, não gosto quando o bagulho é muito bom virar série, velho. Tá ligado? Quando continue o filme, não que eu ache ruim, mas eu gosto que continue sendo filme, tá ligado?
One thing I also see people
Mas porra, tá muito estourado.
pointing
Mano.
out constantly
Realmente funcionou, velho. Deu certo.
about the commercial is almost how wholesome Clark is. He's kind of just this guy trying to save his business that kind of looks like it's failing.
Well, ahoy there, mateys! Now, according to me map, we've landed on the crystal shores of a bountiful land, a land filled with great deals.
I really hope that he doesn't get eaten or something bad happens to him in the back rooms. Even though I know it will, I know something probably will happen to him. But I'm kind of endeared to his character, and especially him seeing him all piratey and stuff and being all nice. The next thing I want to point out is the date in the top left corner of this paper flyer that you've seen everywhere by now. The date is May 17th, 1990, which of course the movie takes place then. But I also want to draw your attention to
1990. Pera. 1990. Se é 1990, então vai ter provavelmente histórias, se forem continuar esse universo que vai funcionar, de lá atrás. Aí saem que eu acho que em 1990 já tá existindo Legit já.
the fact that
Ih, mané. Pera aí. 1990.
several instances in Kane Pixel's YouTube series also occur in 1990. His video titled Static Dead End, which is one of my personal favorites, actually ends or takes place, I guess, on May 29th, 1990.
Muita gente viu o criador original, ele tem 19 anos, será que vai dar bom? É óbvio que vai dar bom esse filme. É só ver o que ele fez com o Blender sozinho. Agora ele tem uma introdução inteira, mano. Mano, ele tem uma história gigante. Pelo que eu sei, ele já tem uma história gigante dessa do Backrooms há muitos anos. E tipo, ele agora vai poder trazer muitas explicações que a galera quer saber pelo filme. Isso vai ser muito foda, mano.
Just about 12 days after the Ottoman Empire ad. Of course, I'm sure this is not a coincidence that the dates are so close. I'm almost positive.
Quanto tempo que ele falou? Quantos dias que eu vi?
Actually ends or takes place, I guess, on May 29th, 1990. Just about 12 days after the Ottoman Empire ad. Of course, I'm sure this is not a coincidence that the dates are so close. I'm
Será que vai conectar?
almost positive that Kane series is going to have overlapping kind of lore with the actual movie. But there's even more to this specific date of May 17th, 1990. And this little Easter egg was discovered by a fellow YouTuber named Red, who I've mentioned here on the channel before.
Já vi o canal dela já.
She's phenomenal, especially diving into Kane Pixel's lore and talking about all the deepness regarding it. Go watch her full video breaking down this commercial if you want even more. But thank you for finding this out.
Mano, é isso que eu quero saber se ele vai explicar nesse filme. O que as cadeiras explicam? As cadeiras, elas são algo muito ruim no Backrooms. É algo perigosíssimo. Mas o que é? Qual é a explicação bizarra que ele vai colocar pras cadeiras? Por que tanta cadeira e por que a cadeira é algo bizarro que tem que tomar cuidado? Eu não sei, velho.
And I'm just gonna go ahead and say briefly what she found out and what she discovered. Now, Red actually found that the date, May 17th, 1990, was featured in a drawing inside of Kane Pixel's YouTube series. If you recall watching the series, there's a character named Peter, who essentially, in long story short, goes crazy from being stuck in the back rooms. Strange time dilation happens to him. He gets out, he runs back in, he gets detained by async. It's this whole psychological thing. Anyways, this guy's going crazy, and he ends up drawing a bunch of really cryptic kind of sketches that you're seeing on screen right now, I hope. And in one of these sketches, the date, May 17th, 1990, it is signed on the bottom right corner, indicating that those sketches were made on the very same day that the Ottoman Empire released this paper flyer. Now, we know Kane and we know the internet. This cannot be a coincidence. The two are related or intermingled somehow. Again, go watch Red's full video to hear her theories about it, because I'm not gonna steal the theory, but I did want to talk about that Easter egg and how it's included here in this video. Beyond all those things, people have actually begun to theorize that the commercial itself was actually recorded and aired after Clark discovered the Backrooms. Even though the dates of the flyer kind of predate the one that was on the screen in the Backrooms, the Backrooms is known far and wide, right, for its time dilation, temporal anomalies, you could say. So maybe that would explain the strange use of verbiage and words that Clark does and uses in this commercial. For example, when you see things like lost in an endless sea of furniture, or you're gonna want more space to put it all, these are just obvious, you know, references to liminal spaces and to the complex in general. Maybe since the Backrooms does overtake and kind of enthrall Clark, maybe he's just talking about it, and that's why he uses these phrases in the commercial, because he actually recorded it post him finding the Backrooms. Again, I don't know. That's just a theory. Making our way to the very end of the ad, right as you see, there's this glitch that appears. It kind of fragments, and it turns slightly red if you pause it on the right frame. This could be a reference to many of Kane's areas in his original YouTube series, like the Red City or the Red Neighborhood, that are accessed kind of through the pit.
O Red Neighborhood vai existir, já tem vazamentos lá da gravação tudo.
Falls of the Backrooms, which we know from the map that Clark draws, there are pitfalls. And we have this behind-the-scenes photo from the Backrooms movie set that looks to be a strange liminal neighborhood, which might be the Red Neighborhood. So I'm sure all that's connected somehow. Again, Kane doesn't make mistakes or accidents or coincidences, right? But to me, that's all the kind of useful Easter eggy stuff that I could find through the commercial. Now I want to dive back into the actual trailer itself and discuss a few things that I missed or that I failed to mention in my original analysis that you all tore me apart for not mentioning. But let me know in the comments if I missed anything from the trailer too. I would like to see if I'm wrong there. Of course, when the trailer begins, we're playing Instupendo's 647, which is just a great liminal track. I mentioned this in my breakdown. But as that's playing, we reach inside of the store and we see the A24 title card, which I want you to direct your attention to the font that's being used for the title card and the other signs. If you didn't know this, the original Backrooms picture, the famous one from 4chan, was snapped inside of a building in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. I actually went to this Hobbytown store along with my fellow YouTuber friend Jaden Salads, and we got a private tour of the original Backrooms location by the guy who took the picture. If you want to go check out that video to see her on my channel, that was a really fun video to make. I definitely recommend checking it out. Anyways, that Hobbytown store where the Backrooms yellow wall stuff was, that exact font in the Hobbytown logo is what's being used for the A24 title card inside of the Ottoman Empire store. So this is a direct reference to the original location by using the exact same font and the exact same color.
Que da hora, velho.
Some of this furniture that we see in the initial footage and clips of Clark walking through his store is actually later seen inside of the Backrooms when he goes there, indicating and confirming, just like in the teaser trailer and Clark's overlay dialogue, that it just keeps creating, it being the complex, of course, it keeps mimicking and recreating and re-imaging things over and over and over again, and it seems to be taking inspiration from the actual store itself by copying its furniture. There's my cat again, he just really wants to be in the video. Hey, buddy. You get a glimpse in this trailer also of kind of the Hawaii beach-looking layout inside of the store itself. Then later on, we see two yellow suit guys and a blue guy fighting in front of the exact same wallpaper. But
caralho, foda.
Although the aspect ratio is different on both of them, they are the same image.
É a mesma imagem,
so when Clark stands up inside the Backrooms, kind of walks around in his first little place he finds there, that voice comes over the loudspeaker. And at first I didn't know what it was, but thanks to you amazing viewers in the comments...
É, então, é o cara, né, é o Homem das Cavernas.
I was able to figure out that it's actually the recording from the space probe known as the Voyager from back in 1977. So when the probe got up to space, we sent out 55 different translated meanings of hello, pretty much, to see if there was any aliens or whatever, or any life that maybe could hear it. The translation roughly goes to hello from the children of Earth, and that is what we hear inside of this trailer in different voices. And it also indicates that the Backrooms is truly not of this world, just like how space is not of this world. Also, this cutout, like I originally said, it seems to be a direct reference to the caveman cutout in Kane's series, but what I didn't say is that I think that the caveman cutouts and the people cutouts are actually just traps, or things to lure certain maybe creatures or people in. Hold on, guys, look what I'm dealing with right now. Sorry. Anyways, what I was saying is I think these cardboard cutouts are used as lure or bait, kind of to trap or to lure in unsuspecting maybe entities or other kind of ne'er-do-wells. Another thing I want to draw your attention to that I really didn't break down as much as I planned on in the first footage is the map that Clark gives his therapist. If you take a little screenshot and you zoom up on the map, we get several different areas of interest that are labeled. You see the store labeled at the bottom. I'm assuming this is his store where he enters from. And you get this kind of squiggle mess of drawings and zigzags that I think represent that big pile of chairs he finds. Then to the left, there's a small section titled Old Bottles with an arrow that's pointing to it. Is this referencing a vending machine or some kind of water that's been left there, or bottles that he found? I don't know what it's referencing.
Ah, ele não vai meter Almond Water, né, mano? Ele não vai meter os bagulho de jogos, né? Eu não sei se nos... Eu assisti todos os vídeos do Guinea Pigs do Backrooms, mas não lembro se ele coloca essas porra não, velho.
But it says old bottles. Could this
estoque
be referencing the tanks that we see later in the trailer, the blue tank? I don't know. Then there's a room at the top, I guess, of this map that's labeled the throne room with a sketch of what looks like a bunch of chairs. Could this be the other room that has a bunch of large chairs in it that we see? Again, I don't know. That's just a theory, but this clearly says throne room. Now, to the left of the map, there's this area that kind of has a giant question mark and a ladder, which might represent those ladders that lead to nowhere that we see. Then we see this corridor that goes down, and it's right in the middle that says steep ramp, which I'm going to assume is the steep ramp that they send the guy down later, and he gets terrified and sees something. That's the steep ramp. Then there's a place that we don't get to see in the trailer, but it's labeled on the map. It's actually a staircase that goes down or up, which we don't get to see, but it does indicate there's multiple different floors. Then there's a few unnamed or unlabeled places on the map that we can sort of speculate what they are. For instance, this square hole grid thing looks like pitfalls up in that corner. And this area down here looks like it says green something, which might be referencing the green areas that have the bacteria.
É feito, é a bactéria. A bactéria vai ter no filme, então.
Entity from Kane's series that kind of pop out. I don't know, it might not say green anything, but it looks like it says green something.
Anyways,
that's all I can deduce from the actual map. If you see anything that I don't see...
Pode ser que seja bactéria ou pode ser uma pessoa começando a ficar infectada da bactéria. Não sei.
Nah, let me know in the comments, but I think that gives us a general idea of what Clark's been doing when he's developing this obsession of exploring the backrooms. He's been mapping it out. As he said in the trailer, he's been there every day, and he's barely scratched the surface. Moving on in the trailer, when this guy is lowered down this big ramp, he ends up walking into this room, which to me looks like there's a bunch of clothes and oddities, like belts and shoes maybe, on the floor. There's also weird black bloody looking marks that are there too, indicating that there may be...
Eu acho que ele esqueceu de dar insert no Premiere das imagens.
Sort of creature involvement or body pile right in front of us. Could this be a dumping ground for this government agency kind of throwing its victims that fall into the backrooms down here? Could this be kind of like a food den for some other thing? I don't know. I don't know. When the camera is aimed up the corridor, it kind of starts to glitch and the frame kind of wobbles around. This is pretty indicative, and it used to happen back in Kane's series on YouTube when something was about to pop out. Maybe it was a creature. Happened back in Kane's series on YouTube when something was about to pop out. Maybe it was a creature, maybe YouTube.
Eu tô ligado que era alguma coisa, mas realmente tem um pixelzinho que aparece aqui, ó. Tem um pixelzinho que aparece, mano, muito meme de.
Could this be kind of like a food den for some other thing? I don't know. I don't know. When the camera is aimed up the corridor, it
é bem por aqui, ó, calma.
Kind of starts to glitch and the frame
Acho que é aqui, ó.
Kind of wobbles around.
Não, é só pixel bugado.
This is pretty indicative, and it used to happen back in Kane's series on YouTube when something was about to pop out. Maybe it was a creature, maybe it was some sort of static interference or a time warp. Something's about to happen is when this camera starts kind of warping. Next up in the trailer, we see the therapist walking to find Clark, and we see that kind of Hawaii tropical looking image in the background on the wallpaper. There's also another cardboard looking cutout behind him in this clip right here. A lot of people thought it was a person, but to me it looks like a cardboard cutout. Of course, now we see these hazmat guys in front of that same wallpaper fighting over a blue
que essa cena, por sinal, muito CGI.
Canister of
muito visível CGI, fica até estranho, mas tudo bem.
And if you go online and you look up what is inside of blue compressed air cans, it's actually usually nitrous oxide or other medical gases. Pretty much laughing gas, essentially. Maybe one of the hazmat guys is trying to use this nitrous oxide to hit somebody or to attack somebody, but the fact that it might be medical gas could be kind of indicative that the government is using this as storage or ways to transport chemicals. My favorite part of the trailer is here where Clark is unable to kind of get out. He can't find the null zone to walk back into his store, and he starts freaking out and touching all over the wall. That's terrifying. To me, that's very scary. I know a lot of people were complaining that you can go back and forth through the null zone, but that's what was happening in Kane Pixel's series. People came in and out. It's not that surprising. This movie is not following like Wikidot or internet lore. It's following pretty much Kane's idea of the backrooms, which is fine. It's great. And I really like how terrifying this exact moment is when he can't leave. He kept going in and out for days and weeks, and now he's trapped. Then we get the shot that references the original 4chan post, which again is a great nod to that 4chan post. I love that. The furniture store was called Roner's Furniture, if you guys weren't aware. Now, we see the psychiatrist walk through the null zone and end up in the back rooms, and we get this really nice shot of her looking down this hallway. And if you look really close on the left side of the hallway, there's kind of an area that doesn't match up. It looks like there's kind of a cutout. This is probably where Clark cut out to keep that little stash of goods that we see in the trailer as well, that little duffel bag. Or at least to me, it seems like the same hallway. Clip of the psychiatrist running through this skinny corridor. Are those clouds at the end of the hallway? Is that from the Hawaii tropical looking wallpaper? Is she running directly towards where those hazmat suit guys are? There is a cord on the ground, and as we know, Async and other agencies, they use the cords and the tape to find their way around. Could this be the exit? Could this be where the agency's headquarters are? I don't know. As she's running, there's that wee 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 sound that's playing that I hypothesized could be some sort of creature. I was wrong and I didn't know, but it's actually the exact sound from Kane's song that he made titled The Complex. It's the same exact kind of noise artifact that's in that song, and it's not an entity, it's just a reference to his own music, which is pretty cool actually. After we cut to that title card and Instupendo's song is playing again, we cut to what looks like kind of a pool rooms-esque room with tiles and outlines of pools and fake plants and stuff. It's actually a pretty neat scene. And we see this guy standing strangely in the corner, kind of waving back and forth. I think this character might be Mark Duplass's character. I think that's probably going to be him. Maybe this guy's been lost in the backrooms for a long time and he and Clark are going to team up. Maybe he's crazy. Maybe he's a government plant. I don't know. Mark Duplass plays really good creepy people, and I hope that he's this person. It just looks Markish. But as far as I can tell, those are the main Easter eggs that I failed to mention in my part 1.
Não parece que ele tá dando wave não, parece que ele tá mijando, mano. Parece que tem tipo um bagulho aqui pra mijar, tá ligado? E ele tá se apoiando aqui num bagulho pra mijar.
Mark Duplass plays really good creepy people, and I hope that he's this person. It just looks Markish. But as far as I can tell, those are the main Easter eggs that I failed to mention in my part 1 from my analysis. But if I missed anything at all in the commercial, inside the actual trailer, feel free to comment below and tell me what I missed. So far, I'm really liking the advertising way and the methods that A24 and Kane is going about showing this movie and film to people. I love the idea of the ARG. It's kind of Blair Witch Project and Cloverfield-y. I hope they continue to release more parts of the commercial-esque stuff. That way the community can tie stuff together and they can reference more stuff and just build up general hype. I think this is a great way to do it, and I'm really excited about this movie coming out. I'm gonna have a lot more content about the movie, what you're gonna expect, what you need to know about the backrooms and everything coming out in the next few weeks leading up to the release. And of course, after the movie drops, I'll be there the first night to give my opinions and my review of it. It's surreal to see this thing be made into a movie. I've been making videos about the backrooms for 5 years now, and it's just wild. But anyways, thank y'all so much for everything. I love and appreciate it.
Pior que é realmente bizarro, mano, que esse filme tá saindo mesmo, mano. Achava que ia dar mais uma atrasada e realmente tá pra lançar e já tá Os caras soltou o trailer já, tipo, literal do lado. E é isso mesmo, mano. Tá 2 meses, lançou o trailer, rapaziada, 1 mês aqui, pronto. Foda, foda. Foda.